Florence Masebe. She is a woman who wears many faces, having been part of Soul City Mubango, Generations, The Republic, Task Force, Ring of Lies, and now SABC One Soapy Skim Sam, just to name a few. And we kickstarted off the show with two of your favorite songs, Mambu Simhlongo,
Yes.
Tingi Tingi, as well as Rene Chivare, Mudzimu Washu. Why those two songs?
So, Mama Simhlongo, oh, may her spirit continue to live in our hearts. She is one of those people that, from very far, said to me as a young woman, you can be all that and still be yourself.
Yeah.
And I loved her authentic presentation of who she was and how she just made all of this music in isiZulu so beautiful. She could have chosen anything. I
Yeah.
mean, she was quite the rock star. And when I fell in love with her, this is one of the first songs that I loved so much. It was this, and it was the Ngiyabonga Baba Ngokungishaya Kontandane.
Oh my
And
goodness, yes.
I just, all of that music, I was a young person studying the arts and wondering how I would present myself to the art. And there she was, being a beautiful light to say, actually, the only way is when you present yourself as yourself.
Sure. And when did you learn that lesson? Because when you get into the arts, right? I know I did it when I got into broadcasting. I was mimicking people around me, people that I admired, broadcasters that I loved. And I think that's how I was able to find myself and be true to who I am and be true to the voice that is me. When did you realize that actually the only way I'm going to have staying power in this industry is if I am authentic and I am true to myself?
I didn't realize it. I just showed up.
You just showed up as your true authentic self.
I just showed up. I showed up at that time. I showed up loud. I showed up rural. I showed up Venda. I just showed up. I remember my very first big deal show. I had done many little shows before, but my first big deal show on the relaunched SABC. You know, we started being SABC SIK back in the days when I was still a kid, but I worked. Then now when we were the relaunched SABC in 1996, I did Electric Workshop. And
oh yes,
I remember my very first script was very clear. This is the opening link, and this is Florence greets in isiZulu.
Yes.
And did Florence not show up and say, "Shawela ngeno ndimadekwana, my name is Florence Masebe"? I was done. I did my first show in Venda. They couldn't turn me back.
Yeah.
And I just went.
Your love for language, you know, there was a post that went completely viral.
And I saw somebody raised it now, years after. And I'm like,
Yes,
why is this thing here again?
It was during COVID, right?
Yes.
And you posted you speaking all 11 official languages, and people lost their minds because it's very rare for people to actually speak that many languages. Where did you pick them up?
I think it's common in my family.
And
I think it's also very common where I come
in
from.
Limpopo, 100%.
Not necessarily in Limpopo. You know, because I know people who live in Leboahomu who still can't say Ndimadekwana or tell the difference between Machero, Ndimadekwana and Masiari.
Yeah.
But yeah, I come from a household where my father spoke everything people spoke.
Really?
So speaking languages has never been a daunting thing. It's a matter of I have had an opportunity to be around people who speak it, and I'll speak it, you know. I got a job to do a puppetry program for AIDS when I was, 21? And it was in East Africa. I had to be in Kenya. And they said, would you do it in Kiswahili? I said, I don't know. And I asked for the script and I asked for a teacher. And I listened to him the whole week. And I made him record himself on a little Walkman, new generation.
Back in the day,
we'll
yeah.
explain
I remember.
In another year. Google a Walkman. And I sat with my little Walkman for a whole week listening. And by the time the show began, I was able to say hamjambo, jina langu ni Florence Masebe, ninatoka Afrika Kusini, tuko hapa kufanya hadithi.
Oh my goodness. That is a gift.
So I now speak, read and write Kiswahili.
That is such a gift. That is such a gift. Learning languages, you're able to speak to someone's soul, not necessarily to their mind. When you speak their language, you're able to speak to their soul. How has being multilingual helped you? I mean, I can imagine going to Kenya and being able to learn Kiswahili in a weekend. How has language helped you navigate the world?
It has been good. If only I need to get rid of my staunch Africanism with my languages. So I deliberately did not try too many other languages outside German and Dutch. So I need to learn a bit of Spanish. I need to learn a bit of French. It might help me. Portuguese. Maybe I should start with Portuguese so that I can navigate Mozambique and Luanda.
Yes.
Angola.
And then you must teach me as well. You must teach me as well. We're joined in studio by the incredible Florence Masebe. And we're talking about her love for languages and also the gift of being able to learn these languages so quickly, which truly is, it really is a gift. If you do have a question for her, please call right now, 086 000 2479, 086 000 2479. I do want to talk about the Nyamutenga Heritage Foundation, something that is very close to your heart.
Yes,
and we're going to talk about that after the break.
Weekend brunch, 9 a.m. to 12 noon with Reggie.
Today, we'd like to know, how many African countries do you know?
Uncle Reggie, my name is Taylor and there are 54 countries in Africa.
Hello, Uncle Reggie. My name is Tadon Ngazana. It's Lesotho, South Africa, and also Namibia.
Hi, Uncle Reggie. My name is Una Renemakushi and I love your show. Uncle Reggie, I love you so much. You're the best, Uncle Reggie. I have never seen you.
Weekend brunch, 9 a.m. to 12 noon on Radio 2000. Our music, your memories.
ShopRite brings you South Africa's biggest basic food subsidy. Save on 1.35 kg Sweet Pix, 6 1-litre Right Brand milks, 750 grams Ricoffee, and 2 kg Hewlett's brown sugar, all for 299 Rand. Get 5 kgs Iwisa, Nyala, or Super Sun maize meal, just 54.99 each. And a value pack of Pampers nappies or pants, only 179.99 each. Valid until 9 June. Only at ShopRite.
A vital part of any democracy is to guarantee that voting takes place in an atmosphere which is considered free and fair. Ensuring free and fair elections is the primary responsibility of the IEC. At the same time, government has a major role to play in ensuring citizens can safely and securely cast their votes. The government met and put in place measures to ensure that the elections are safe and secure. A message from government.
TS Galaxy Queens and Richmond United ladies both love it in the top half. They want to go as high as possible but not willing to share any points. This is the Hollywood Best Super League. Catch them Zanzi Queens of the beautiful game. TS Galaxy Queens FC tackles Richmond United Ladies FC on Sunday 9 June at 2:30 p.m. Live on SABC Sport on DTT Channel 4. Also available on SABC Plus and SABCSport.com. Hashtag we love it here. Brought to you by SABC Sport. For the love of the game.
It's Radio 2000, Our Music, Your Memories. Joining us in the studio, the absolutely beautiful Florence Masebe. And before we went for a short ad break, I did mention your Heritage Foundation, the Nyamutenga Heritage Foundation, because one thing about you is you are very, very proud of your Venda culture. It is something that you wear with pride. I mean, even it's part of your wardrobe as well, because you would find when we see pictures of you or when we see you, Jay, you would be wearing something from the Venda culture. How important is culture to you?
It is me. So, I got to be important to me. It is who I am.
Yeah.
So I can't wake up one day and say, let me leave my culture behind. I'm going out for a drink. It is a part of me. It's the essence of me. So it's quite important. It's always been. I think people who were at university with me would have memories of me just on a random day deciding to wake up and be in full Venda regalia and go barefoot to upper campus from lower campus. Because I could. Not because there was a particular occasion, but because it was my dress for the day.
And were you ever shamed for that? Or was there a particular celebration of you?
It's very difficult to shame me. Where would you start? From childhood? No. I own the spaces I step into. If I'm not ready to own them, I stay home. So, no. It's always been a very easy thing for me. But then in recognizing that it's not an easy thing for everybody.
Yeah.
And in recognizing that there's been the colonialism project that over the years told our mothers and their mothers and the ones before them that cultural heritage and cultural artifacts, cultural dress were all things of the devil, and they had to shun them to be able to join the road to heaven. It's a very serious harm that has been done to our inner beings as a people.
Yeah.
So many people do not know the ways of their own people. And I am fortunate to know a lot culturally. Really, really fortunate. I used to think everybody knows. And I realized that even adults do not know what I know.
Yeah.
People much older than me may not have come across the information and the regular things that I believe are regular that I know. So for me, it's important to create a place, a vehicle for me to be able to channel culture. The culture of Venda people, where I can say authentically, this is how I remember this being done.
And the Nyamutenga Heritage Foundation, right, as someone who also has a bit of Venda heritage, can speak to Venda a little bit. Can I walk into that organization and seek knowledge about my people, where they come from? How does it work?
Absolutely. The whole point is to help people find themselves within their own circles, but to help them recognize what that circle is. Part of what I do is people go, oh, your clothes. I say, yes, I look for people in different areas of the broad land that is Venda, to say we didn't always even dress all the same.
Yeah.
You can tell looking at the way Venda has been sewn and made that this person is from Hachivas, or this person is from Hasintumure, or this person is from Matangari. So we can tell a difference with how particular women dressed, how particular drums were made. We could tell which region it came from. We're losing quite a lot of that right now.
Yeah.
So my small efforts with the foundation is to find those people. So I'm like the one person that would link you up to, oh, you want a drum? Let me have one made for you. You want bukunda?
Amazing.
Which type of bukunda? No, you can't wear those ones because you are not this. You need to be wearing it like that.
Absolutely amazing.
I'm the person that's correcting everybody to say, you can't wear that dress like that. You should not even be wearing that particular one.
Yeah. And that's extremely important.
Yes.
Everybody was introduced to you, whether it's on television, whether it was them listening to the radio. And this is who you are, a thespian, a storyteller. Now, of all the faces and the stories that you've told, having featured in many different productions, which face had the biggest impact in your career? Was it the character that you played in Soul City, the character that you played in Muvango, or the character that you played in Generations? I mean, the list is endless.
I think the impact happens according to what chapter of life one is in and what season. And when all of them arrive, they come through at a time when I need them to be my biggest. Generations happened when I was still quite young.
Yeah.
I had been working in the industry as so many other things, and during those days there was a separation. Presenters can act, actors can present. And here I was being an actor whose first big deal work on television was as an entertainment presenter.
Yeah.
So people just assumed maybe she won't be able to pull off acting, which is really silly. I was a trained actor. I still am.
Yes.
So when I did Generations, it was a big deal for me. It was a very, very big deal that, yay, I'm seen. But I had been doing international programs. I've been doing loads of German movies and television series. But, it wasn't happening for me on a big deal show at home. And when Generations happened, for that time, it was a big deal. Look, I was in Suburban Blaze. I loved those few episodes that I was in Suburban Blaze. In that time, it was my big deal.
Yes.
And no deal is ever small. I'm like big on celebrating little victories because they're your biggest moment at that time. Sit in them, own them. So I enjoyed even being a cameo on Soul City when the first season started.
Wow. Now, you made history back in 2012, right? The Durban International Film Festival. Can we go there? Right? You were executive producer and a star of the very first ever professionally produced Venda feature film called Ererwane. Take us back to that moment and what it meant to you. I was on Wikipedia, and that's one of the things that they mention when you Google Florence Masebe and the work that you've done.
I did. I read a book called Ererwane when I was at school by an author called Ntsieni Titus Maumera. And it was cute. It was lovely. I didn't know when I was reading it then that it was the first ever Chivenda language novel to be published. Years later, when I'm working on Mubango, I get to work with Nchabeni Warururi, an amazing cinema master. And Nchabeni says, I want to make this film. And I was like, yes. He says, yeah, and I think you'd be really good in it. I go, oh, cool. He never comes back to me. For years, I'm going, that Nchabeni. So-called dapper with a carrot that he dangled, and he never came back to me. What I didn't realize at the time is that he was struggling with the process of getting the funding and the support to do the film. But years later, he came back and he says, I think I got us a little bit more of money. We can make that film. And, the rest is history. I got involved at first as just the lead actor that would be in the show. And then when I realized an opportunity to do more, because we were struggling for funding, even as we were in production, I went out to make a plan.
I want, we're going to take calls just now, but I want to talk about the politics behind the arts. The minister, Zizi, you're laughing.
I resigned from politics of the arts in my soul.
We're going to talk about that because the reason why funding is a challenge is because politics are involved in the arts and all sorts of things. So can we put a pause on that? Because there are people that want to talk to you. Let me not hog the spotlight at all. We've got Buyisile in the Free State on the line. Good morning, Buyisile. Siyaphila. We've got Florence Masebe in the studio, and I know you're not here for me, you're here for her. Do you have a question quickly or a compliment?
Yeah. Oledi Masebe.
Yeah. Free State
ni kopa fela o botsa man e seng ambe mala se go mohlomong ke botsa ambe because ke bona o dula o ntse le mocha TV ha o tso fale at all ha o tso fale na le ke batla fela o tseba gona o etsa jwang o ja dijo tse jwang like
ke ja moro isn't spinach
Secondly, ne ke nane mohlomong o mo pedi, so ke a qala utlwa today ka o se Ntombi o re no o mo Venda. I'm so shocked, and then I just want to tell you that I'm feeling like a king today because ke bua le motho ya maemong a hodimo. I'm so proud ka hore ke bua le wena motho a tsebala lefatshe lohle me Florence.
Ke a leboha buti wa ka, ke leboha.
Thank you so much, Papa. Thank you. And let's go to Maritzburg. Nazo, good morning.
Ntombi ninjani?
Hi, siyaphila baba, wena unjani?
Siyaphila.
Ngiphethe umam Florence.
Florence, sesi waka, ke mme waka, sesi waka, ausi waka le kae?
Re teng le kae?
Re teng man. Ntombi let me be short. Ke bona re go di use. I started working with House Florence, Narrator Justice for All.
Oh my goodness, yes. You see,
all. House Florence, what a humble person.
Yeah.
What motho o ratang setso, motho o ratang batho ba ba tlhompang batho ba bang. There was a problem. What was it that she came a shooter a fetsa? Banahana or no, I got fetsa because there was a problem. But she came. Kalerato le anang le lona. There was a production. I won't mention the name. There was a director who was fired on set because he was irresponsible. He was disrespectful. Bonane, House Florence ke motho nang le rato ke motho tshang le batho, but don't cross the line with her.
Nazo one launch ko wa ile seng.
Because I know you before acting is fashionable. Acting is fashionable. Before it was fashionable, they had the love. I wonder, maybe it's a Minister of Sports because when I post.
Bye-bye, Nazo. Yabona. Bye-bye, Papa. Thank you so much for calling. Thank you. You're back on our screen with Skeem Sam, and I'm going to that political question. I want to save it for last. You're back on our screen on Skeem Sam. How does that feel? That call when you received it, were you excited? Were you nervous?
It happened so fast, so I don't think there was time for nervous. I got a call and they said, look, we have a situation. Are you available? Because I could have said yes and not been available to shoot.
Yeah.
And I said, well, what kind of availability are you talking about? They're like, tomorrow. And I said, no, I'm not available tomorrow, but let's talk. Entice me. What role do you have? And we had conversations, and then they had to come through and say, look, we have a situation on our hands. Yeah. One of our lead actors has had to go on special leave, and we need you to hold the fort. And I was like, I wouldn't mind, actually, because, like I said to you, I returned to myself, returned to my art. And I was like, why not? Skeem Sam is a beautiful show.
It is very popular.
I remember auditioning for this role when the show started.
360 moments.
So I was like, oh, okay, it's come back to find me, albeit quite temporarily.
Yes.
But I was excited. That people in this country like boxing people, and they try to box even polyglots like Florence Masebe. Guys.
She does it all.
So, yeah.
And I think, sorry, Florence, and I think that's why people look at you as someone who can take on that position of being a minister where arts and culture is concerned. If that was presented to you, would it be something that you would entertain?
Artists pick ministers? Am I on the list that was handed to Judge Justice Zondo to go to Parliament?
No.
Okay, so politicians pick politicians for political duty.
Yeah.
Let's let the politicians figure out their thing with their politics. I'm an artist. The decade that I'm in right now belongs to Florence and her art.
Yeah.
I'm being quite selfish. in that. I won't even fight for your issues on set, Nazo. I'm not involved. I'm so about Florence. I will fight for my cup of coffee.
Sure.
I want to show up and be great and leave.
And that's where you stand now.
Right now, really, I want a few awards in my cupboard by the end of the decade.
An Oscar would be nice.
A BAFTA too.
Oh, definitely.
Yes.
Definitely. Oh, thank you so much. And you will definitely be able to see Os Florence Masebe on our screens. SABC, Skim Sam, extremely popular, playing the role of Meiki Maputla, even though it is temporary, but it is beautiful to see you back on our screens.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for all that you are, all that you stand for. And we thank you for being the preserver of our languages as well as our culture. Thank you. Thank you so much. Oh, my goodness. It's just gone 11 o'clock. Goodness, I wish we had another hour so I can pick her brain because there's so much to talk about. There's also, her love for music. I am going to play Candy Samandebele, a song called Didegi. I'm also going to throw in a few of her favorite songs, the other one being Gerald Levert and Eddie Levert, a song called Wind Beneath My Wings. If you missed out on this interview, we're going to make it available on our podcast on our website, www.radio2000.co.za. Ladies and gentlemen, Florence Masebe.
SABC News. Independent and impartial.
Top stories: the DA response to the Government of National Unity proposal and Nelson Mandela Bay to request millions after floods. Good morning, I'm Roseanne Greef. The Democratic Alliance says it will only agree to be part of the ANC's proposed Government of National Unity if the MK Party, the EFF and the Patriotic Alliance are excluded. Yesterday, the ANC President Cyril Ramaphosa announced that the party was seeking to form a government of national unity with a broad group of opposition parties. The DA's national spokesperson, Werner Horn.
The President was not very specific in terms of the characteristics of such a government of national unity. We will hopefully get some more detail from them, and then the duty of that negotiating team will be to bring the specifics back to the Federal Executive, and on Monday the Federal Council will have to decide.
Meanwhile, political analyst Chris Landsberg has described as shocking some people's claim that the ANC's proposed government of national unity is a non-starter because there is no unity. Landsberg says there was no unity in 1994.
But what the ANC should now do, formalize it, get the teams of people together. I will be the first to say I will be surprised that everybody who's invited will stay into a government of national unity. But the idea of a GNU is now on the table. It's got to be tested. And I wouldn't be surprised if some will walk out along the way and say this is not for us.
The Nelson Mandela Bay Metropolitan Municipality in the Eastern Cape says it will request 155 million rand from National Treasury. It says it will use the money to assist the more than 2,000 displaced people and to repair damaged infrastructure following the floods. The municipality took the decision during a council meeting yesterday. The executive mayor, Gary van Niekerk, says they have already identified land on which to build houses for the victims.
What we need to get now is to get pockets of land. We've already identified pockets of land. The land, some of them are municipal land and some is public works land. But the processes in terms of government, local government being so heavily, some would say over-regulated. We are going to fast track all those processes to ensure that people are moved out of these holes.
And the funeral service of celebrity chef Tembekile Letlape is underway in Bryanston, north of Johannesburg. Letlape, who was commonly known as the Pastry Princess, has been described as a loving and caring person. Her body was found at her partner's house on Thursday last week. Letlape's boyfriend, Sibusiso Zita, appeared in the Randburg Magistrates Court in connection with her murder, and the case was postponed to the 13th of this month. The rand is at 18.87 to the US dollar, 24.13 to pound sterling, and 20.55 to the euro. Gold is trading at $2,350 and platinum at $1,002 per ounce. Brent crude oil is at $79.73 a barrel. The top story at 11. The Democratic Alliance says it will only agree to be part of the ANC's proposed government of national unity if the MK Party, the EFF, and the Patriotic Alliance are excluded. More news at 12.
Score big with Hollywood Bets. Bet 50 Rand or more pre-match on any T20 Cricket World Cup game to stand a chance to win your share of 75,000 Rand plus a share of 25,000 Rand in in-play betting prizes. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. Hollywood Bet supports responsible gambling. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counselling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710.
The battle between the Super Eagles and Bafana Bafana is an ongoing grudge that will never end. They both believe their style of football is superior. The West clashes with Southern Africa. This is the FIFA World Cup African qualifiers. Catch Africa's great football rivalry. Nigeria versus South Africa. On Friday, 7 June at 9 p.m. Live on SABC Sport on DTT Channel 4, SABC 1 and SABC radio stations. Also available on SABC Plus and SABCSport.com. Hashtag We Love It Here. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
Attention all R&B lovers, this is the moment you've been waiting for. The legendary Drew Hill are coming to South Africa. Get ready for an unforgettable night at the all-white Soul Sessions with Drew Hill, 7 September at Sunbet Arena. Tickets are available at Ticket Pro. Don't miss out on hearing your favorite hits, including Never Make a Promise, In My Bed, and many more. It's all going down at Sunbet Arena on the 7th of September. Tickets are on sale at Ticket Pro. Proudly brought to you by Remo Akanzi Holdings.
Better Together, Monday to Friday from 9 to 12 with Ntombi.
What does good, healthy co-parenting look like to you? And are you happy with your current co-parenting structure?
Co-parenting, Ntombi, asinayo. Language, you don't have such thing.
I wish to disagree with the caller saying in African culture we don't have co-parenting. Why? Because you can't force things. We have relationships that are not working as anticipated.
Are you co-parenting at the moment, sis?
I wish I was.
What's currently happening?
I divorced him and he divorced the kid.
Life should not be a solo ride because we are better together.